I'm Ryan Newman, and since I started with Indiana Donor Network and Driven to Save Lives, I found out that some people think that they can't be an organ donor. The truth is, anyone can sign up to be an organ donor.
Anyone?
Anyone?
Are you sure?
Yeah, I'm sure. Anyone can sign up to be an organ donor. So don't count yourself out because somebody's counting on you. Go to driventosavelives.org and sign up today.
But my heart's going to you, Ryan.
Love that shirt.
Ever hear the one about the frog? Put a frog in a pot of boiling water and it'll jump right out.
Here's my resume.
But put a frog in a pot of cool water and slowly heat it up, and that frog will boil. It's a lie. But as a metaphor for us and all that we go through as veterans,
Any real-world experience.
it's a story that rings true. We make excuses for how we feel. We push everything down. We tell ourselves the lie that it's easier to stay in that boiling water, to disconnect. And some days, maybe, it is. But you've never been interested in easy. Reaching out is hard. Do it anyway. You're not alone. You've got this. You are not a frog.
Find resources at va.gov/reach.
Green, rolling. In your track. Check it up.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to another night of iRacing action here on the National Racing Network. Tonight, it is the Rockingham Speedway Skyfox 150 for the Fuel Premier Series. My name is Chris Graham. As always, it is a pleasure to have you hanging out with us here tonight, joined in the booth by Mr. Patrick Byrne. And tonight, Malvern, Pennsylvania's Thomas Bressie is going chasing after a Fuel Series championship. It is round number 1 of the Fuel Finals. But Patrick, a guy who's got 6 wins and 12 top 5s in 12 starts, has a 17-point lead heading into tonight's racing action. We're in for some abject insanity over the next 4 weeks.
Oh, yeah. Just because he's been one of the best all season doesn't mean he's pulled away. And the rest of these guys, they've been practicing. They've had a week off. If they get on their game, they might have a shot to overtake him when this championship really matters.
There's, quite frankly, there's a bunch of guys that are going to be very, very close here. Let's tell you a little bit about what you're going to see here tonight as we get ready for cars to roll out onto the track for qualifications. Rockingham Speedway, located in Rockingham, North Carolina. It's a 1 mile, pretty high banked oval, 25 degrees in the corners, originally opened in 1965. As we mentioned, this is race number 13 of the championship. 148 laps is the distance. Cautions are going to be called by iRacing. They have the choose rule here, which is going to be interesting to see. Which line comes in faster is where we're going to see the leaders tend to go. Overtime attempts are unlimited here in the Fuel Premier Series, and there are your point standings. Thomas Bressie with a 17-point lead over Justin Morton. Blake Gordon just a handful back as well. Mike Stroll, Rob Ackley completing the rest of your top 5. 6 through 10 going to be Alex Ficelio, Justin Munsell, Brian Young, Hayden Pistorius, and Casey Licados. Taking a look at the pit strategy numbers for tonight, 2 stops will be required. Fuel window anywhere from 60 to 70 laps. We're anticipating about lap 65 or so. Drivers will have 3 sets of tires in the box, and the tire wear is moderate, so they will have to baby these Goodyears at least a little bit anyway. As we pick up Casey Lakatos as he makes his way out onto the racetrack, he will be the first car that we see taking time. Also going to have Rich Engel heading out onto the racetrack as well. Pull up the tower here so you know where your favorite is going to be. Also on the racetrack, as we mentioned, out of Grand Rapids, Michigan, the 08 of Rich Engel. He's on the right-hand side of your screen. Mitten Brewing Company, free beer and hot wings show on the side of that one. Casey Lakatos in the number 50 will be the first car to go quick time out of Waukesha, Wisconsin. Sim Motorsports, Sim TV, Grid Life, and FCP Euro on the side of the number 50. Lakatos first lap, 25.4 seconds. Engel's lap, 25.4 also, but it's got a 58 at the end of it. That's going to put him second quick. Now moving out onto the racetrack, the number 69 Hershey's Squirt-sponsored entry of Don Runkle out of Kingman, Arizona, driving for Pelletier McQuestion Simulations. Also going to have John Gervin heading out onto the racetrack as well. John will be on the right-hand side of your screen. Gervin piloting the number 33 out of Livonia, Michigan for Domination Intimidation Racing. Pepsi, True Hockey, and Pearl Drums all over that bright blue machine. Runkle making his way through 3 and 4 on his hot lap. And again, the qualification order is inverted, so the slowest cars in practice are the first ones out in qualifying. Runkle going to go third, quick 25.79 with a 5, 25.795 seconds for Don Runkle. John Gervin over across the start-finish line. His lap will be scored third quick, 25.54 and a 5, 25.545 seconds. Brings out the number 10 of Dak Oparka on the left-hand side of your screen. Dak out of Clydesdale, Arizona, driving for Skidmark Central Racing. And Skidmark Central, it's the Valvoline colors. Kind of a Johnny Benson throwback on the number 10 machine tonight. Next car heading out onto the racetrack will be the 65 of Brent Kusick out of Charlotte, North Carolina for Domination Intimidation Racing. Lowe's, Cookout, and Cobalt on the side of that one. That's a very nice Jimmy Johnson throwback there. Into turn number 3 for Oparka. Kind of interesting study in lines that we see Oparka kind of up on the middle of the racetrack while Kusick all the way down on the line through 1 and 2. The lap for Dak Oparka goes quick time, 25.155, 25.155 seconds for Dak Oparka. What's the lap going to be for Brent Kusick? He is over the line. Second quick, 25.33 with a 7, 25.337 seconds for Brent Kusick. Brandon Wengard will be the next car out onto the racetrack. Wengard out of Anderson, South Carolina for Domination Intimidation Racing. Subway, Wonder Bread, and Gear Wrench on the side of that machine. And next up, going to be one of our championship contenders on the right-hand side of the screen, the 86 of Winnipeg, Manitoba, Canada's Brian Young. Series rookie driving for Firelight Esports Target. Firelight Esports, Rowdy Energy is who he's listed on the side, but it's been the same paint job all year long. Kmart and RC Cola on the side of that 86 machine. Pretty cool looking, kind of throwback-ish paint scheme on that one. Love the number 1 that Wengard is running. Mountain Dew colors on the side of that one. Oh, hold on to it, buddy. A little bit loose off of turn number 4. Wengard across the line, and he goes quick time, 24.997. First car in the 24s at a 24.997 second lap. Here comes Brian Young across the line. His qualification lap is fastest, 24.916. 2 cars now into the 24.9s.
And right off there, what we saw off of turn 4 is a very, very difficult part of this track. The car gets very, very light. It's almost like Dover, except the reverse. Instead of pushing you up into the wall, it wants to spin you right around.
Probably exactly what these guys want to be playing with tonight. Cars that just don't want to be nice and they want to snap loose on the exit of 4. As we see the 4 of Casey Shue taking the green flag. Casey out of Trinity, North Carolina, driving for JT Motorsports. The Exalta Flames are a little bit different color tonight. Snap-on tools and Raise Energy also on the side of that one. 81 of Brandon Wengard out of Harrisburg, South Dakota for Endeavor Racing. Old Smoky Moonshine, Black Rifle Coffee Company, and Meat Church Barbecue. I'm getting hungry again every Monday night, man. I want barbecue. Casey
Maybe
Shue.
we'll have to do the next broadcast out of a barbecue joint.
They would lose their minds if we brought all this stuff in there. Shue going to be 4th quick at a 25.281. 25.285 for Brandon Bernhardt, only about 0.4 of a second separating those cars. Is now heading out onto the racetrack is the 56, O'Reilly Thompson, and the 93 of Travis McQuistion. McQuistion, another of the cars in the fuel finals. But McQuistion going to have a little bit of a ways to go here. After picking up the win at the Daytona International Speedway to start the season, he is going to enter as one of the last 2 cars in the show, sitting on 2,000 points, along with Chad Mikas. The 56 O'Reilly Thompson has been really a neat story since coming on board with this series later in the year. He has been very quick, and he's showing it again tonight. 2nd quick on the board, 24.935, 24.935 seconds for Riley Thompson. Travis McQuistion down over the start-finish line. He's going to go 4th quick at a 25 flat, 25.097. The lap time for Travis McQuistion. Matt Owens making his way out onto the racetrack. Only 7 starts this season for Matt. 1 top 10 finish. Hopefully we're going to see a little bit more of Matt Owens come next season. But the other car out there on the racetrack is Tyler Hensley. First car outside looking in on the Fuel Finals playoff system. Hensley out of Knoxville, Tennessee, driving for JT Motorsports, Discount Tire, Milwaukee Tools, and Exalta on the side of that one. Matt Owens on the left-hand side of your screen, a series rookie out of Williamsburg, Virginia. Nerdy as Hell Racing, Dr. Squatch, Kettle Brand Potato Chips, and the Nerdy as Hell podcast on that car. Nerdy as Hell podcast sponsoring the Rookie of the Race award. Owens goes quick time, top of the board. 24.883, but he's going to be passed by Tyler Hensley, who goes quick time, 24.808 seconds, 24.808. The time of record for Tyler Hensley. He will be your provisional pole sitter as we are about halfway through this qualification session. Next out on the racetrack will be the number 9 of Hayden Pistorius, joined by the 11 of Justin Morton. Oh, and Pistorius may have gotten a piece of the outside wall. Won't necessarily affect the lap. Doesn't look like we see any damage on the side of that car. Pistorius out of Corunna, Ontario, Canada for Total Downforce Racing. Hooters, Napa, Mountain Dew on the side of the number 9, at least the listed sponsors anyway. The 11 of Justin Morton out of Sonoma, California for Total Downforce Racing. Black Box and Pixel Dust adorning the side of that Toyota Camry. Morton entering the night 2nd in points, only 17 back of points leader Thomas Bresci. He's going to have a shot at a championship here as Pistorius goes 2nd quick, 24.881. No quick time, Justin Morton, 24.715. 24.71 with a 5 for Justin Morton. Now we're starting to see some lap times come up on the board here as Chad Mikas rolls off onto pit lane in the number 25 out of Wheeling, West Virginia for Domination Intimidation Racing. Mountain Dew, Valvoline, and Ally on the side of the 25 machine. Also going to have the 95 of Joe Dinsmore on the racetrack as well. Out of Berryville, Virginia, Steel Horse Racing, Dragon Ball Super, iRacing, iFlag, and Steel Horse Racing, the sponsors of the number 95 machine. Micus making his way off of turn number 4. He goes second quick, 24.751, 24.751 seconds for Chad Micus. Joe Dinsmore, a little bit squirrely off of 4. He's going to keep it up above the yellow line. Dinsmore going to be 7th quick at a 24.931, 24.931 seconds. You look for a quarter of a second, got to go all the way back to 9th place, Brandon Wengard right now, as we have the 2 with Will Roberts making his way out onto the racetrack. Out of Efland, North Carolina for Nerdy as Hell Racing, Red Light Media, and the Nerdy as Hell podcast, it looks like, on the hood of that machine. Yes, it is. That's a good-looking race car this week for Will Roberts. The other car out on the racetrack is the 13 of Blake Gordon. Gordon out of Virginia Beach, Virginia, driving for Endeavor Racing. It is so tough there, Patrick. You want to get the thing wound up and keep it on the outside wall, but you can't make any contact while you're doing it.
Not during qualifying, at least. During the race, you can kind of bounce off it just a touch here and there. But during qualifying, any sort of contact will invalidate your whole lap.
Roberts over the start-finish line. He's going to go 9th quick at a 24.942. A little bit of a disappointing run there for the 2 of Will Roberts. And he very quickly brings that car to a stop. Blake Gordon going to come across the line 7th quick at a 24.929. Again, a little bit surprising there out of these two. Going to see them a little bit further back than we might have expected. Will Roberts will roll off no better than 10th. Blake Gordon no better than 7th. And we've still got all the heavy hitters left to come, including the number 98 of Justin Munsell making his way out onto the racetrack. The last night we're going to be able to see some of that stuff going on. Major update coming to the iRacing platform tomorrow, including changes to how qualifications are handled and depending on what level of scrutiny you put on it. No more brake dragging, no more going slow, none of that garbage that we saw people using to basically grip hacks qualifying. Also on the racetrack, the number 90 of Johnny Edward.
I think more importantly than that, though, we're getting restart zones.
Yes, we are, and that'll be interesting to see if the Fuel Series elects to implement them as we roll through the Fuel Finals, or if they'll kind of keep things where they've been as the 98 of Munsell comes across the line, and Justin Munsell only going to be good for 11th quick at a 24.952. Oh, and a big hit into the outside wall for Johnny Edward. That's the loose condition you talked about there, Patrick. You try to catch it, and you're going straight to the wall when those tires grip up.
Yes. This track is very, very tough, but this track is also very, very fast. It's a fun racetrack.
Rob Ackley now on the racetrack, as is your point leader, Thomas Bresci. Ackley, Series rookie out of Watertown, New York, for keeping it real esports with the Mara Racing Network on the side of the number 22. The Rainbow Warrior, it's a throwback paint scheme night for Thomas Bresci. Out of Malvern, Pennsylvania for JT Motorsports, it is the Exalta colors, piloted by Jeff Gordon all those years ago. Kind of a crossover throwback. It's got the flames down the side and the Rainbow Warrior on the hood. As Ackley goes, quick time, 24.672, 24.672 seconds. Ackley has a couple of poles this season. He's been pretty darn good to this point. Thomas Bresci going to be second quick, and how about it? 24.67 with a 2 for Rob Ackley. 24.67 with a 9 for Thomas Bresci. 7/1000ths of a second separating our top two right now. Heading out onto the racetrack also is Alex Viccellio. And the number 8 of Mike Stroll. The 00 of Viccellio, Series rookie out of Westville, Illinois for Firelight Esports, Body Armor, and Menards. On the side of the 00, the 8 of Mike Stroll. Out of Bethlehem, Pennsylvania for Domination Intimidation Racing, Yingling Lager DC Shoes. Bass Pro Shops are the listed sponsors. However, this is the AC Delco scheme. Let me see. I need to make sure I get the name right on this one, as Vicelio only goes 9th quick. A little bit interesting that we're seeing some drop-off here out of some of these drivers. As Stroll comes over, he's only going to be good enough for 6th quick at a 24.840. So we'll take a look here, and I believe we're going to have only possibly Chris Matthews and Gael Brooks left to take time. But as of right now, your pole sitter is Rob Ackley in the number 22. Trying to see if we have Rob here in the Discord. I don't see him anywhere. So let's see if we can talk with Mr. Thomas Bressie. And Thomas, they tell you what, buddy, the car looked good out there. Only 7,000th of a second off of Rob for quick time here tonight. Got to be feeling pretty good here as we get ready to roll for 148 laps around the Rock.
Yeah, it was an okay lap. I could have been a little bit better. I didn't really get a great run to the flag, and I felt like I gave up a bit in 1 and 2. But Rockingham's not really one of my favorite places, but I tend to do okay here. So we'll just try to keep things pointed the right direction and maintain the points gap. I don't want to kind of have to rely on the buffer that I'm fortunate to have, but we'll see if, with some luck, if we can stretch that out a little bit more.
You got what you needed to out of the regular season. You had a 500,000 point lead at the end of our last race. And then we come in tonight. We're going to reset everything. What does that do to you mentally as a driver? Is it just a matter of saying, yep, I know what I've got to do here and just kind of keep doing what you've been doing? Or does it add a little bit of pressure knowing everybody's tightened up so close?
It definitely changes things a little bit because obviously, yeah, it is tighter for the points, but I don't know. I feel like the best way to kind of solidify things is just keep doing what I've been doing, or at least try to. But I feel like there's a few wild card places here in the finals, this being one of them. So, we'll see what happens and just try to make the most of these next 4 races.
All right, bud. Well, good luck tonight, and hopefully we're talking to you again towards the end of this thing.
Sounds good. See you guys. Enjoy it.
Thank you. That's Mr. Thomas Bressie, and now I got to figure out what room I have to drag him back to. There we go. We got him in the right spot. So I'll tell you what, Patrick, qualifications have concluded here. The drivers still have about 4 minutes or so left until we get ready to take the green flag. But, man, there's a lot that's going on here all at one time. We have 12 drivers battling for a championship. You have everybody from 13th on back running their own individual points races. And it's almost like they're trying to stay out of the way, but then when you're trying to stay out of the way, you end up in more trouble, and the leaders want you to be nothing but consistent through the corners. Like, don't try to give them space or anything. It really turns every one of these races into a wild card.
Yeah, what you say about don't try and move out of the way of the leaders is super important. It's much more important to be predictable. The leaders are faster than you for a reason. They know how to get around you. If you've been taking the low line every single lap of the race, keep taking the low line. They know how to get around you on the high side and vice versa. Because as soon as you try to move high to let them by, you have no idea what you're doing up there. You're going to lose the car. You're going to take the leaders out. You're going to take yourself out. And nobody likes that.
Yeah, it's just easy to make the mistake, quite frankly. You will see one... go ahead, but yes, no good deed goes unpunished. Yeah, that's exactly right. And sometimes, especially as we look through the points a little bit here from 13th on back, there's still some tight races that are up for play here. Tyler Hensley only has 20 points on Will Roberts and an additional 10 on Gael Brooks. That 13th position in points is definitely not settled yet. Then we go back to 18th place, Brandon Bernhardt. Brent Kusick only 9 points back. Kyle Cooper 1 back of Kusick. You're really talking about having battles within battles. And the team's fight, quite frankly, is just as important to these guys. Some of them that run towards the back a little bit, you're there fighting to get points for your team as well. So it's not like you're going to just try to show up and be a field filler here. There's still a lot going on. So with that, we are down to about 2 minutes until grid time here. We get ready to roll off. First, let's tell you about the weather conditions tonight, presented by our friends at the Weather Center. Offensively accurate weather for eastern Pennsylvania. 79-degree ambient temperature, 62% humidity. Wind's going to be out of, that would be the northeast. There is no 417 degrees. Nice 420, though. 10 miles per hour are the winds under partly cloudy skies, and a 112-degree track temperature. That really could come into play here tonight, Patrick, because the drivers were talking about tire wear maybe not being as big of an issue as they might have thought. But you get a place that hot and slick, you're going to start to wear them out in a hurry.
Yeah, usually Rockingham is a killer for tires, but these guys aren't reporting that. But this track's going to do nothing but heat up today because we have relatively clear skies, the sun beating down, heating up this asphalt, and the tires are just going to want to slide. The more you slide them, the more you wear them.
Inside of 60 seconds remaining until we hit the grid here for tonight's Skyfox 150 from the Rockingham Speedway. Once again, my name is Chris Graham with the National Racing Network, and joining me in the booth tonight is Patrick Byrne, and had a great weekend calling a couple of real-world races from the Auto Club Speedway in Fontana, California for the Spec Corvette Series. Make sure you check those out. They were some interesting shows to remotely produce. We'll say it that way. Let's see here. Hayden Pistorius checking in the comments here. Sorry, bud. Already busted you on this one. Let's see. Make sure we got the right comment coming up here. Yeah, there we go. Hayden checking in saying, let's just pretend you didn't see me hit the wall on my outlap. Too late, bud. We got you, though. Have to say a couple of big thank yous to our sponsors for tonight, including Chance 3 Design Shop sponsoring the pole award that tonight will be claimed by Rob Ackley as the checkered flag is out on the session. Also have to thank Primate Pest Elimination for their support of the series as well, providing the cash bonuses for the Hard Charger Award. And the Nerdy as Hell podcast throwing some cash up for the Rookie of the Race and the Rookie of the Year. And with that, it is time for these cars to get out onto the grid. A lot of these guys already have the setups queued up here. Let's head down trackside and tell you the starting lineup for tonight's race here from the Rockingham Speedway. Starting on the pole with a lap time of 24.672 seconds will be Watertown, New York's Rob Ackley. Lining up alongside out of Malvern, Pennsylvania, the number 24 of Thomas Bressie. Starting on the inside of row number 2, Sonoma, California's Justin Morton. Lining up alongside will be the 25 of Wheeling, West Virginia's Chad Mikas. The number 5 in Knoxville, Tennessee's Tyler Hensley on the inside of row 3. And starting on the outside, Bethlehem, Pennsylvania's Mike Stroll in car number 8. Row number 4 will have the 9 of Hayden Pistorius out of Corunna, Ontario, Canada. Lining up alongside the number 12 of Matt Owens out of Williamsburg, Virginia. The 86 of Brian Young from Winnipeg, Manitoba, Canada will be inside of row number 5, and to his outside, the 00 of Westville, Illinois' Alex Viccellio. Row number 6 will have the 13 of Blake Gordon out of Virginia Beach, Virginia, lining up alongside the 95 of Berryville, Virginia's Joe Dinsmore. Row number 7, the 56 of Riley Thompson and the 2 of Will Roberts. Row number 8, Justin Munsell and Brandon Wengard. Row 9, Travis McQuistion and Dak Oparka. Row 10, Casey Shue and Brandon Bernhardt. Row number 11, Brent Kusick and Casey Lakatos. Row 13, Rich Engel and John Gervin. Row number 14, we'll have Don Runkle and Chris Matthews. There's the extra name that doesn't belong there that we were mentioning. Johnny Edward. Well, and it says me lining up in the 28th position because your play-by-play guy clicked the wrong button. And Gael Brooks would be lining up on the outside there of the 14th row.
Well, Chris, why don't you hop out there in a cart and go do an in-car report?
You know what? I could. It would be a lot of fun, but I don't think these guys want my no-talent rear end hanging out on their racetrack, quite frankly. Taking a look on board here with Thomas Bressi as we make our way down the back. Straight away, there's the 22 with Rob Ackley down to the inside of the racetrack. Field will make their way through turns 3 and 4 one time behind the iRacing safety truck at pace speed. And we're going to turn them loose for 148 laps around the rock. Who can tame one of the toughest challenges of any NASCAR circuit? Pace truck is in. And as always, race fans, the start of this one, going to be all yours. How about the side-by-side battle for the lead? Rob Ackley going to lead lap 1 by about half a car length. Bressi going to hold it down to the inside, this time off of 2. He may be able to clear. Don't look now. Here comes Justin Morton up from 3rd. One car possibly in the wall towards the back of the pack. Currently still under green. Going to be Bressi, your race leader. Get you up the side-by-side here as we have got a great battle going on. That's going to be Joe Dinsmore and Dak Oparka fighting through 3 and 4. And these drivers will have the halfway bonuses on the line here. Oh, caution is out. First yellow flag of the night out on the racetrack. This one going to be towards the back of the pack. Let's take a look and see what the issue was. Several drivers going to be involved with this one.
Oh, we see them there pulled down to the infield.
Yeah, they're still trying to get themselves squared away here. Let's pick up the replay and follow along with Rich Engel. Oh, big time contact there with the 33. Engel slides up the racetrack, nowhere for the 92 to go. That was Chris Matthews in the 92. See Don Runkle also involved in that one. John Gervin getting a big piece of that as well. 4 cars involved in an early incident here at lap number 7. this is probably about the worst thing that one of these drivers towards the front is going to want to see. They really don't want to get into a pattern of 7 to 10 lap runs here, because all that does is put big-time heat cycles in the tires, and now you're really getting into tires that don't want to grip.
Yeah, that'll make the tires really, really slidey, and they'll just wear even faster, because you're not necessarily wearing them when you're heat cycling them, but you're making the tires a lot harder. And the harder the tire gets, the less it conforms to the road, the less it conforms to all the irregularities, and basically just it's like putting big Flintstone rocks in all four corners of the car.
Looks like big-time trouble for Travis McQuistion. We saw him dive down to the inside of the racetrack right at the start of the race, possibly having some connection issues. McQuistion, now we are no longer seeing him running on the racetrack right now. Tough break early on for one of our Fuel Finals contenders. I can't believe it's been how many months since we were talking about McQuistion picking up the win at the Daytona International Speedway to start this season. And quite frankly, not much has gone his way here. A lot of bad luck type issues throughout the season for Travis McQuistion. Thus far, John Gervin, Rich Engel, and Chris Matthews still on the pit lane. John Gervin now making his way back out as well. So Gervin and Runkle, that were both involved in that incident, heading back out onto the racetrack. Recapping where our points leaders are right now. Thomas Bresci entered the night with a 17-point lead. He currently runs in the first position. Justin Morton entering the night second in points, currently runs third, just a couple of spots back of Bresci. Only Rob Ackley separating those two. Blake Gordon, entering the night third in points. Gordon currently running in the 10th position, but now we're going to start to see the field dive out for the choose cone, which basically is the apron at the start-finish line. Looks like almost everybody wants to be on the high lane here, Patrick. Is that just a course of being able to get the car wound up here, or kind of what's the thought process there? Because Bresci's been quick, and he elected to start on the inside.
I'm not sure what the thought process is. I would think you would want the bottom here, especially being able to cut that dog leg a little bit and then kind of getting the run into turn one. But maybe you can get a little bit more on the high side and try and get the run down the backstretch.
The field's going to get wound up here and ready to go, and take a look. We'll pick up the side-by-side, go on board with Justin Morton. He's going to be third. Big dive inside of Ackley into turn number one. Morton easily able to clear Ackley. And I'll tell you what, we've really got a fantastic battle brewing. Little bit deeper back in the field here behind your race leaders. Justin Munsell in the 98 down to the inside of Tyler Hensley. Man, it looks like they're already starting to get that push up towards the outside wall.
Yeah, and that's only one heat cycle on the tires. Hopefully we don't get many more on these cars, but this is very, very tough track. I'm not sure we won't see a couple more single car incidents that just happen to collect some more people.
That'll be the 9 of Hayden Pistorius and the 12 of Matt Owens dueling basically a lap and a half now, side by side. Justin Morton getting caught up here right on the rear deck lid of race leader Thomas Bressie. We'll follow the leaders down into turn 1. Rob Ackley going to run a little bit higher lane through 1 and 2. That opened the door in a big way for Chad Mikas to get down to the inside. Chad was absolutely on pins and needles at the end of the last race of the regular season at Talladega Superspeedway. Thought he was in, thought he was out, ended up finding out he would be the last car in on points.
And here he is. He's up to P3. So he's really gotten it all figured out. I think he can make a run at this as long as he stays up there with them.
Yeah, I think he's got at least a shot at the championship. He's only 33 points back. He's going to need some help from Thomas Bressie and some of the drivers ahead of him to have an issue. But string together 4 podium finishes, that might be enough if you can make 1 or 2 of those a win. Justin Mutzel swinging inside of Rob Ackley. Ackley starting to fall back a little bit here. He's all the way back to the 7th position now. You wonder if he's not fighting a little bit of a handling issue here. And let's take a look and go on board with Rob Ackley. See if we can listen to the throttle a little bit through the corners. I'll tell you what, Patrick, whatever the issue was, sounds like it may have been temporary because Ackley's, he's not losing a ton of ground anymore. And it seems like he wasn't having to be real twitchy on the throttle or anything through the corner either.
Yeah, nice and smooth is the key to driving these Xfinity cars. They'll get out from under you in a hurry. These are not high grip race cars, so the smoother you are on the gas pedal, the better. It's almost like driving a sprint car. You really don't want to be jamming on that pedal.
And Justin Morton is absolutely hounding Thomas Bressie, our race leader. Take a little bit further back in the pack look here. This is Daco Parka, Tyler Hensley side by side. The 2 of Will Roberts wants to come play, as does Brian Young. Seeing a little bit of a connection blip there for Roberts. And the connection gremlins appear to be biting Travis McQuistion as well here just a little bit, as he's kind of been on and off of pit lane. Big swing there by Roberts. That's almost a slide job in turn 3 and 4. Gets it up in front of Daco Parka. Good battle brewing for the 5th position as well. This is Justin Munsell, Alex Viccellio, Rob Ackley, and Riley Thompson all running nose to tail. Gear lap 23 of 148 is complete. Taking a look, is the 56 of Thompson able to clear Rob Ackley? Now that's going to drop Ackley back to the 8th position. This is the tightest battle on the racetrack that we're looking at right now. Another good one, a little bit deeper in the pack here. Casey Lakatos, Brandon Wengard. His race leaders already into lap traffic. This pack of cars on the left-hand side of your screen making their way around the lap car of Travis McQuistion. McQuistion not going down without a fight here, though. And ho-hum, 27 laps of the leaders about this far apart on the right-hand side of your screen. That battle's been a fun one to watch. You almost wonder here, Patrick, as we'll pick these guys up full screen. Do you have to wonder about managing tires a little bit? Is that what we're seeing out of Mike Stroll, Chad Mikus, Justin Munsell, possibly?
It could be. However, a lot of times going slower doesn't save the tires as much as just being smooth is, and smooth is fast. So these two guys at the front, they might be able to still go faster than anyone else and wear the tires less.
That was something we really noticed out of Justin Morton over the course of the season. His throttle control was really pretty exceptional here. Take a look here. We'll go on board with Justin Morton. Man, I tell you what, Patrick, go ahead.
He enters just a little bit lower and earlier than Bresci, and then swings up right above him before the mid-corner. And this is really important to try and just keep some sort of clean air on the nose of the car and not slide around those front tires.
Yeah, that
it's
was
really subtle, but
well, that was
really
going to be
helps.
my point, is we're not hearing a ton of that tire squealing scrub sound that you get when you're really pushing the car hard. Maybe a little bit there on corner entry, but it's not like the thing's squealing all the way around here. Don't look now, but the third place car of Mike Stroll definitely hanging in here a little bit in the third position. He's gaining as we're about the halfway point here of our first pit stop cycle. Only one caution at lap number 6 for a multi-car incident. So once again, to kind of recap what it sounds like the strategy call is going to be here tonight. Will be 2 stops required, anywhere from lap 60 to lap 70. Drivers do have 3 sets of tires in the box, and they will take them at this point now, even if you had to stop twice more from here. Very, very likely that you would take tires. The moderate wear is a little bit of a concern, but almost feels like at this point it's really just a matter of keeping things smooth, and that's not always the easiest thing to do in these B-class cars, Patrick. It almost feels like they're a little bit underpowered. You can't really use the throttle to completely turn the race car the way you want it to. You really do just have to be incredibly smooth in these things.
Underpowered. Some tracks, these things make more power than the Cup cars.
Yeah, that's true.
These are 600 horsepower absolute beasts. And these tires, especially the rear tires, are undersized for the amount of power they have. Now, at these high speeds, you're not as worried about spinning the tires. But with how light the rear end gets, they'll absolutely come around on you when you hit the pedal.
Tough break for Gael Brooks. Not going to be able to get out onto the racetrack tonight. He will finish in the 28th position. Chris Matthews and Rich Engel both out of the race at this point as well. They will come home in the 27th and 26th positions respectively. And Mike Stroll has done the catching up. That part's over. Now he's just got to go to work on getting past Justin Morton here as we work lap number 40. There he comes. That's going to be an easy pass down the back straightaway for Mike Stroll. Put him up to position number 2. And he is going hunting for Thomas Bressie. And Stroll entering the night 4th in points, 23 back of your race leader. As caution is out. Trouble on the racetrack, and this one has fuel finals implications. Daco Parka, Brent Kusick, Brian Young, all going to be involved. Little bit of contact off of 2. Oh, and Young kind of got the dumperoo from behind as everybody was slowing down. Several big impacts. We are under the caution flag once again. We'll pick up race leader Thomas Bressie, and pit lane should be open this time by the question becomes here, Patrick, I would imagine everybody's going to come down pit lane because you were going to have a fairly short stint for that third one anyway. Now you'll be able to get the first stop out of the way, run a full fuel load, and then blast to the finish.
Yeah, these leaders, they really glad this caution came out, although it looks like that 8 car is getting bounced around quite a bit coming into the pits. I'm not sure he's too happy with that.
Long way down pit lane for your race leaders. We'll see who's going to win the race off of pit lane. There'll be 4 fresh Goodyear Racing Eagles, 2 cans, Sunoco fuel, and it will be Thomas Bressie, Mike Stroll, Justin Morton, Justin Munsell, Riley Thompson. Your top 5 as they exit pit lane. Munsell, one of your hard chargers of the race, up 11 positions tonight. Riley Thompson up 8. Good runs for both of those cars at this point. 14.63 seconds the time of the stop for Thomas Bressie. Mike Stroll down and away in 14.68, 14.62 for Justin Morton. Pretty much identical times of the stop here. still nowhere close to being within range of making this a one-stop race. They're going to need a ton of help if they want to try to go that far. Travis McQuistion will get a wave around. He will make up one of the laps that he's down, but that is still a very significant number of laps behind your race leaders. Right now, Tyler Hensley on pit lane as well. 6.73 seconds, the time of the stop. Top three all electing to go on the inside lane. It's going to be fourth place Justin Munsell, the first car to choose the outside lane for the restart. That's what you've got to love that. You see everybody in front of you diving one way. Yep, I will take that, thank you very much, and make up a handful of positions because you let me have it.
I was going to say, even if the outside line's preferred, if I'm going to move up 4, 5, 6 rows by choosing the bottom, sure, I might lose 3 spots in the restart, but I picked up 12 of them just getting here.
So this will be Bresci and Munsell on row number 1, Stroll and Thompson on row 2, Morton and Owens on row 3. Justin Morton goes from restarting 3rd to restarting 5th in the shuffle. Mikus and Roberts on row 4. Pistorius and Ackley on row 5. What the heck? Let's do one more. Give you all a chance at home. Go ahead and crank it up. Proving just how important clean air is. Justin Munsell able to gain 5 spots on the restart. He holds on to 2nd. That's going to drop Mike Stroll back to 3rd. Justin Morton to 4th. Riley Thompson holding on to that final spot in the top 5. Oh man, Munsell scrapes the wall at the entrance to turn number 1. Stroll going to have the look to the inside. Not quite enough momentum. Try the pass into 3, but once again, Stroll dives to the bottom of the racetrack. Munsell holding on to that top line, and he is working it well. Able to hold on to the 2nd position. Oh, we've got one car almost going around way loose down the inside of the racetrack. That's going to be Matt Owens. Everybody able to clear him to this point. Owens slots back in line, but he is going to lose a bunch of positions back to 14th. Kind of interesting to see the line that Will Roberts is running here. Almost diamonding off the corner here. Watch him again as we head down towards turn 1. Enters real low, lets the car swing up to the outside of the racetrack. Well, this time he's going to work on Hayden Pistorius, so maybe not so much there, but really kind of running that low, high, low line. Might be a tick quicker, but man alive, is that going to beat up your tires here.
Yeah, especially the way you have to come down to do that, you're really scrubbing that right front to try and pull the car down. And I don't know if it's going to be that effective this early in the race. It's something I'd want to try much later.
Taking a quick peek at our track conditions here. Track has actually cooled slightly from 105 to 104 degrees.
That's Fahrenheit, right?
That is correct.
Just making sure, right? We've had some wild weather this year.
Yes, that is correct. Here's Mike Stroll having to look inside of Justin Munsell. This is the battle for the second position. Munsell having to get way up the racetrack. Man, the 11 of Justin Morton having to back off a ton too. I mean, this is truly a game of short way versus momentum that we're seeing here.
And this is the perfect track for that. That's why we've seen so much great racing here, and I hope NASCAR comes back to this track. Because there's no real advantage to the top line and the low line. They're both fast, which means you can go side by side for miles, and no one can eke a nose out.
A lot of attention has been given to North Wilkesboro Speedway as part of the $30 million investment plan by the state of North Carolina. But we can't forget that Rockingham is getting a lot of money in that process as well. A lot of modernization will be going on at the facility. Maybe not Cup Series racing, but I wouldn't be surprised to see the NASCAR Xfinity Series here at the Rock once, maybe even twice a season in the near future.
I'd love to see some historical NASCAR races, like we have historical sports car and historical Grand Prix races, where they get a bunch of cars from the 70s, 80s, maybe even the 90s, and set them loose on some of these older kind of historical tracks.
I know the road course guys do that because the potential for death and damage is significantly lower than running these cars on the oval. But there's got to be a way that you can run, maybe not as hyper-competitive as they did in their heyday, but have the chance to run these, get some of the old cars out here, and that would make for an absolutely incredible throwback weekend, especially if you tied it in with the Xfinity Series and or the Truck Series. Maybe that Rockingham could become a home of throwback weekend for the trucks.
And one of the biggest things that made those old cars not as safe is they didn't have 5-point safety harnesses and they didn't have Hans devices. Two things that are both real easy to get into some of those older cars without absolutely destroying the heritage of them. Which means, you know, they've all got roll cages. Set them loose.
Speaking of setting them loose, how about Justin Morton having to look to the inside of Mike Stroll in turn number 1? He'll get the job done. Stroll goes from battling Justin Munsell for second to losing the third position to Justin Morton in just a couple of laps. And Riley Thompson going to be there as well for 2 TDR cars here inside the top 5. You wonder if Stroll didn't bake the tires off just a little bit going after Justin Munsell. Is Riley Thompson able to clear easily as well? Or are we stalling what we saw out of the first run where Stroll kind of middle of the run was hanging back a little bit and came on like gangbusters the deeper we got into the run? Let's pick up the battle on the side-by-side here. This will be Will Roberts and Casey Lakatos. Roberts to the outside. Licados down to the inside of the racetrack. Very similar to what we saw out of Stroll and Munsell a handful of laps ago. Looks like Licado's going to be able to clear Roberts, but again, the two of Will Roberts able to sail it off to the high side of turns 1 and 2. Is there advantage one way or the other when it comes to how does running the high lane save your tires a little bit in these kind of conditions, or are you better off to run the inside lane, or is it really just how smooth can you be?
Typically, the high line wears tires a little bit less. However, the biggest key is just being smooth. Don't give it any more wheel than it needs. Don't give it any more throttle than it needs. And if you are hitting the brakes, make sure you're not locking them up.
Fantastic three-car battle. Riley Thompson getting around Mike Stroll and Justin Morton. Now Morton going to fall back just a little bit. This really is starting to feel like a race where catching them is one thing, passing them is something else. Morton was on the back deck lid of Justin Munsell not too long ago. You get the tires a little bit hot, now you're going to fall back a couple of positions. The halfway bonus is coming here at lap number 74, just a handful away now. Thomas Bressie, your race leader, by 1.9 seconds over Justin Munsell. Then it's going to be Munsell, Thompson, Stroll, and Justin Morton, all four of these cars in lockstep. As Thompson looks to the inside. Oh, there's contact! Munsell bounced it off the wall. Great save by Munsell and Mike Stroll. Doesn't look like there's too much damage on those race cars, but that was a pretty big hit for Justin Munsell into the outside outside concrete wall off at turn 2. And that has brought Chad Mikus up into this fight as well. Take a look here on the replay. There's the bounce off the fence. Man alive, I don't know how neither one of those cars looks like they took a ton of damage there, but everything seems okay. Maybe not so much here for Justin Munsell, as he's gone from in that battle in the lead pack to now having to fight back with Chad Mikus to hold on to a spot inside the top 5. The other good battle going on right now has the 81 of Brandon Bernhardt, the 50 of Casey Licados dueling. And we'll keep our eye here on Justin Munsell to see how that car performs over the next handful of laps. Race leaders all in the 25s. Justin Munsell's last lap at 26 flat. Now, I would imagine he doesn't have a meatball for damage, but definitely going to be some repairs next time that car's on pit lane.
Yeah, and it's still, I don't want to say early enough in the race, but we're about halfway. If caution comes out real soon, I would say it's still worth it to get that damage fixed. Later in this race, it's not worth it to sit in that pit lane and get the damage fixed if you're still turning reasonable lap times. It looks like he's only a tenth slower than the rest of the field right now, so it's a lot of time to lose, but not as much as sitting in the pit for a minute.
Mike is going to have the look to the inside of Munsell through 1 and 2. Not much room there, though. And I would imagine it makes you a little bit nervous being inside of that car. You know he's tight. You've already seen him push up into the wall once. You really don't want to be there if that car does it again. Looking a little bit forward here up the racetrack. Riley Thompson holding on to a 0.3 of a second gap over Justin Morton. Mike Stroll going to be right there. So Stroll's car, I would guess, is okay after that contact. Little bit of damage that we can see on the right front corner, but nothing so difficult that he can't fight here with Justin Morton for third. Approaching the longest stint of the day. The first one went 43 laps on the first set of tires. Currently working the 37th lap of this stint. Thus far, the car is out of the race. Blake Gordon, Brent Kusick, Brian Young, Daco Parka, Rich Engel, and Chris Matthews. Still almost 20 laps away, in fact more than 20 laps from the next cycle of pit stops. So let's take you through the field here real quickly. Thomas Bresci up 1 from where he started the night. That number 24 machine has been dominant all season long. 12 starts, 12 top 5s, and 6 of those were victories in the regular season. And Thomas Bresci doing what he needs to do here in the round number 1 of the Fuel Finals. Second place, Riley Thompson, one of your hard chargers of the night. Up 11 spots. The current hard charger is 15th place, running Johnny Edward. Only up 12, though. So Thompson very much still in the contention for your hard charger award tonight. Little disappointed with the qualifying run, but the car has been spectacular here in race trim thus far. Mike Stroll seeming to hold his own after the contact with Justin Munsell a dozen or so laps ago. Just the slightest bit of damage on the right front corner of that number 8 AC Delco machine. Running in the 4th place is Justin Morton. Started 3rd, the first car to have lost a position to this point in the race. But Morton continuing to hold on to a top 5 position. As is Chad Mikas, qualified 4th, now runs 5th. Mikas able to get clear of the 98 of Justin Munsell, but Munsell's troubles are not over yet. After the contact, heavy with the right-hand side of the race car into the wall off of turn number 2. Falling back now to the 6th position, and he's going to have to contend with Will Roberts. The Nerdy as Hell podcast number 2, up 7 positions from where he started the race this evening. Looking back to the 8th position, it is the 9 of Hayden Pastorius, another of the TDR cars and another of the Fuel Finals contenders. Back half of the top 10 finishes are not going to win a championship, however, this season, especially with what Thomas Bresci continues to do at the front of the field. Running in the 9th position is the 81 of Brandon Bernhardt, and he is going to have to go to war with the 00 of Alex Ficellio. Little bit of a wiggle. That was more than a little bit. That was a big wiggle for Vichelio off of turn number 2. He's going to fight with Rob Ackley for the final spot inside the top 10. And Ackley will be able to clear. That drops Vichelio back to the 11th position. How about this battle here? 6th, 7th, excuse me, 5th, 6th, and 7th. Justin Munsell, Will Roberts, and Chad Mikas. All three of these cars running very tightly together. Roberts going to really dive it deep into 3. Keeps the car down on the bottom of the racetrack. Just not enough momentum there to get around the 98 of Justin Munsell.
And it looks like Thomas Bressy's absolutely checked out. The last thing he wants to see is a caution right now.
Yeah, he gone. The gap right now is 5 seconds, 5.4 to be exact, separating Mike Stroll from Thomas Bressy as we'll pick up the battle for the second position. These 3 cars all in line nose to tail, Stroll, Morton, and Thompson. Then you go another 6 seconds back to Justin Munsell in 5th. Quite frankly, these guys in the top 4, I would imagine, are pretty content with Justin Munsell trying to nurse that injured race car home and holding everybody else up in the process. Tell you what, that 93 machine of Travis McQuistion is very quick. Unfortunately, having the connection issues right at the start of the race, that little bit of a, I guess what you would call a mechanical failure of some sort. It's the iRacing equivalent of the $6 ball bearing that breaks. But it can absolutely knock you out of contention very, very quick. And it looks like now Justin Munsell on pit lane. Pick him up as he hits his box. So finally he's had enough. Chad Mikas, Will Roberts making their way down pit lane as well. So kind of interesting here. We're seeing only about 53 laps on these sets of tires. Kind of the short pitch strategy here. Mike Stroll, Hayden Pistorius making their way down pit lane as well. So some of your race leaders coming in. However, if a caution flag comes out, that puts you in an absolute world of hurt. Because now all of these cars will be trapped a lap down. At this point, only 8 cars remain on the lead lap. Thomas Bressy, Justin Morton, Riley Thompson, Rob Ackley, Alex Vichelio, Joe Dinsmore, Brandon Bernhardt, Tyler Hensley, Casey Lacados. Vichelio on pit lane, as is John Gervin. And race leader Thomas Bressi very slow into turn number 3. He will come down pit road this time.
Isn't this what they call the danger zone?
Possibly. Justin Morton and Riley Thompson able to come around Bressi. They are still out on the racetrack. So Bressi not able to stretch the fuel as far as some of these cars. Now 8 cars that have not stopped yet. Now Justin Morton going to make his way down the pit lane. Bressi clear and away from his pit service. So now the question becomes, where is Justin Morton going to come out in relation to race leader Thomas Bressi? Seeing Matt Galida checking in a couple of minutes ago here in the comments. Love Rockingham, would love to return racing to return here in real life. It's coming, brother. No doubt about that. I tell you what, it was not even a contest. Justin Munsell actually able to get out ahead of Justin Morton. Looks like the short pit may have been the right call here, because not only did Thomas Bressi lose some ground, but he lost a ton to Mike Stroll, who is now only a half second back here. There's the effective first and second place in the race. However, we say effective because they are 1 lap down to Riley Thompson. Rob Ackley, Brandon Bernhardt, Matt Owens, Casey Shue also not stopping yet. There's Thomas Bressi around Riley Thompson. So I would imagine if you're Riley Thompson, now's about the time that you have to hit pit road. Because at this point, Thomas Bressi has put himself back on the lead lap. So we'll have your race leader on the left-hand side of the screen. That is Riley Thompson. At this point, hoping for a caution, because you would still trap a ton of cars a lap down. We would have about six cars on the lead lap if we were to get a caution. Don Runkle making his way down the pit lane.
You keep saying that word. Are you trying to bring a caution out? Because these drivers definitely don't need a caution, because we would give them the commentator curse for caution.
That is correct. Now that you've said the words as many times as I have. No, actually, what we need is for the cycle of green flag pit stops to get all the way complete, and then the caution flag comes out. That would set up about a 30 or so lap dash to the finish. And quite frankly, it would
Rob
take...
Ackley's in the pits now.
Yep, Rob Ackley is in, and it would eliminate a lot of the questions of fuel, tires, etc. Riley Thompson has now gone 68 laps on this run, and looks like he will. He's going to be coming down this time onto pit lane. So Matt Owens could assume the race lead. He is the last car to have not stopped yet. But Thomas Bressie comes around Owens, and Bressie going to come by the stopped Riley Thompson as well. In fact, Thompson may be lucky to not lose a lap in the process here, being on pit lane. Matt Owens making his way down the pit lane as well. So following the pit stops, the cycle and running order will be Thomas Bressie, Mike Stroll, Justin Morton, Justin Munsell, Chad Mikus, the top 5. Hayden Pistorius in 6th, Will Roberts 7th, Alex Ficellio 8th, 9th to Tyler Hensley, and 10th will be Casey Licatos. Thompson and Joe Dinsmore will be the final 2 cars on the lead lap. Now, if you're everybody else in the field, this is when you want the caution flag to come out. As we pick up the 00 of Alex Ficellio, he's going to have Tyler Hensley about a half second back. And that is the only fight on the racetrack right now. Everybody else at least a second and a quarter separated from each other. Now, Riley Thompson is on the lead lap. And you have to wonder here, Patrick, with 30 or so to go and 15, 16 laps on the tires, if we get a caution flag that comes now, if you're one of the race leaders, do you come down pit road and put that last set of sneakers on?
It depends on what the leader does. If you're Thomas Bressie, whatever you do, everyone else will do the opposite of. So, really, the only guy who doesn't want to see a caution right now is Thomas Bressie.
Yeah, pretty much, because either everybody else is going to have fresh rubber and he's going to be skunked, or he's going to come down pit lane with maybe a handful of other cars, and he's going to have a lot of work to do to be passing race cars here late in this race. Now, outside of 21st place, Travis McQuistion, everybody else is within a lap of the leaders. So, in addition to the lucky dog, you're also going to have potentially a lot of wave around cars here because they can make the end of the race. We could see a ton of cars still on the lead lap at the end of this thing.
Yeah, we have 16 cars in the lead lap now, which is over half the field. But then you would add in Matt Owens, Brandon Wengard, and Don Runkle to that mix. Actually, they're all look like they're on the lead lap too now. So, really, you'd have 20 or more cars on the lead lap to finish this race, which is really incredible. It's well over half the field. That's over 2/3 of the field.
We'll see, getting very close to 30 to go, and that is all reliant on a caution flag coming out. And, well, we have no signs of that happening at the moment. And quite frankly, there's really not much going on here either. Alex Ficellio making up a little bit of ground on Will Roberts. Riley Thompson making up a little bit of ground on Tyler Hensley. Actually, let's pick that one up here because that battle is starting to get good here. That is the 5 of Tyler Hensley, the discount tire colors. Just behind is the 56 of Riley Thompson on, we'll say, 13 lap pressure tires. Down to 26 to go, this time by the start-finish line, and it is not a contest. Put Riley Thompson back up to the 9th position. This is where you really start to wonder, was it a big brain move here by Thompson to get as many laps as he did out of the set of tires? Thompson went 69 laps on that last set of Goodyear Racing Eagles. Only 58 laps for Thomas Bressi. When we get to the end of this thing caution-free, that's going to be 11-lap pressure tires for Riley Thompson.
I'm just looking at the numbers here. Thomas Bressi, once again, is absolutely just running away with this thing. Riley Thompson might be on fresher tires, but he is not going that much faster than any leaders. In that lap, he actually went 0.5. Actually, yeah, 0.7 slower than our leader, Thomas Bressi. So I'm not sure those fresher tires are really doing him much good. I think he's kind of stuck where he's at right now.
Well, I was going to say, he's behind a moving roadblock. That is Alex Viccellio and Will Roberts. Might be able to clear Roberts down the front straightaway. Now this is where we could really see whether those tires make a difference or not, as Thompson clears Viccellio off at turn number 2. Tyler Hensley going to be right there in the middle of that battle, down to the inside of Roberts through 3 and 4.
Yep, Riley Thompson that lap, 0.2 faster than our leader, Thomas Bressi. He's catching him, but I don't know if 0.2 a lap is going to be fast enough.
Pick up another battle here on the right-hand side of your screen. That'll be Casey Lakatos, Rob Ackley, and Joe Dinsmore. And right now, these are the only 2 battles on the racetrack, as Will Roberts has given up a ton of ground to Hensley and Viccellio. Dinsmore going to have Rob Ackley right up underneath the deck lid, and race leader Thomas Bressi is not far behind. Down to just 17 laps to go. And Thomas Bressi continuing to do Thomas Bressi things. A 4.5 second lead. Mike Stroll holding on to the 2nd position. Oh, almost 3 wide, right in front of the race leader. Bressi cannot be enjoying that view.
No, he's saying, get me the hell out of here right now. And he has 2 options here. He can either slow down and let Michael Stroll catch up to him and kind of just wait this out, or he's got to press on and get past these guys.
Yeah, we'll pick up Thomas Bressy's onboard here. Able to clear Will Roberts that time through 2. And quite frankly, if you're not involved in the battle, there's really not a ton of incentive to be going after them either.
Yeah, but sitting just behind them like this, your incentive is they're going to wreck and I don't want to be a part of it.
Yeah, I don't need to be here right now. It'll be 10 to go. Next time by the start-finish line for race leader Thomas Bressy. And how about it? The guy who was on a charge is, quite frankly, continuing the action here. Right-hand side of your screen, Riley Thompson easily inside of Chad Mikas. That's going to put Thompson back up to the 5th position. The problem is he's about 19 and change seconds back of your race leader here with 10 to go. The other thing to bear in mind is we do have the overtime rules in play as well.
Yes, did you put enough fuel in the car to make it to that 2nd or even 3rd checkered flag?
That's the big question. They can make one pretty comfortably here. They'll be at about 48 laps or so. That is the last thing Thomas Bressy wants to see right now. I almost wonder, get a little bit closer look here at Thomas Bressy's car. Now, thought I saw a little bit of damage on the right front, right at the, almost called it the fascia, right where the splitter is, the front wing. It's just the Flames paint job there on that Exalta Chevrolet. Hayden Pistorius and Chad Mikas battling side by side. We'll put that one up in the big box for you. That is the battle for the 6th position. Going to have to deal with the one of Brandon Wengard now. Wengard up to the outside of the racetrack, allows Pistorius and Mikas to take the inside lane through 1 and 2. Man, we got a bit of a hornet's nest developing there. And once again, race leader Thomas Bressy shows up right at the back of the shot. That's Alex Vicellio, Rob Ackley, Tyler Hensley all going to battle as we are down to 4 laps to go. And at this point for these guys, I don't know that there's enough cars, unless you, depending on how you have your relatives set up, they may not be able to see that race leader Thomas Bressy is that close to them either.
Well, if they've got their voice chat turned on, I'd imagine Thomas Bressy is doing the good old Sebastian Vettel, blue flag, blue flag.
3 laps to go for race leader Thomas Bressi. You can see him at the back of the shot, but quite frankly, this action is just too good to not have a look at. Is it me, or are things starting to get a little bit dark here at the Rock?
I can tell you that this track does not have lights, and it gets dark in a hurry.
Yeah, I was going to say, there are no lights at Rockingham Speedway. As the white flag is out, 1 lap to go for Thomas Bressi. Oh, man, they're trying to wad him up in front of the leader. The next flag will end it, and it will be the checkered flag. Can Bressi make it all the way back to claim the first checkered flag of the Fuel Finals? The Hornet's Nest settles in. Bressi cleanly off of turn number 4, checkered flag in the air, and Thomas Bressi gets the win at Rockingham. Mike Stroll going to come home second. Justin Morton will round out your podium. Justin Munsell, nice job holding on to that race car for a spot inside the top 5. And Riley Thompson all the way back up to the 5th position. Great drive there by Riley Thompson. Your Primate Pest Elimination Hard Charger of the race tonight will be the number 90 of Johnny Edward, gaining 12 positions from where he started this one. Rookie of the race. Got to take a look at our charts and numbers and everything else here. That'll be Justin Munsell coming home in the 4th position here tonight. There it is. Thomas Bressi parks the TB24 in victory lane here at Rockingham. Got a great look at the race car and show you tonight's results. Thomas Bressi with a 5.4 second win over Mike Stroll, Justin Morton, Justin Munsell, Riley Thompson, your top 5. Hayden Pistorius, Alex Viccellio, Rob Ackley, Chad Mikas, and Tyler Hensley will complete the top 10. 11th place, Joe Dinsmore, going to be the last car on the lead lap tonight. Will Roberts finishing 1 lap down in the 12th position. Casey Licado's 13th. Brendan Bernhardt, 14th. 15th to Johnny Edwards. 16th, Matt Owens. 17th, John Gervin. The last of the cars 1 lap down. Don Runkle coming home in the 18th position. Brandon Wingard 19th, and then some of the cars that had early issues, including Travis McQuistion, Casey Shue, Blake Gordon with a disappointing run back in the 22nd. Same story for Brian Young. Their championship hopes may be already over here with some deep finishes in the field tonight. 24th place, Brent Kusick. 25th, Daco Parka. 26th to Rich Engels. 27th, Chris Matthews. And 28th position here tonight will be Gael Brooks. And Gael not able to get out onto the racetrack for this one, so may not even be scored for points purposes, but get everything queued up here and ready to go for the victory lane interviews. And we will start by bringing in our race winner tonight, Mr. Thomas Bressi. And man, this is starting to feel like a date night, brother. We're talking to each other every single Monday night, it feels like. Another top 5, another win. That'll make 7 wins in 13 starts this season. Congratulations.
Yeah, appreciate it. I still don't like this place. That doesn't change my what I said before the race. I still do not like Rockingham, but yeah, glad to start the finals the way we did, and just had a nice clean, smooth race. Good bonus points. I think as many as I could have gotten. So, yeah, just happy about that, and good way to keep things going. Glad we're retaining our regular season form.
That was going to kind of be my next question. What I would imagine the key to the finals for you is just keep doing what you were doing. That's what we saw here tonight. What do you think now as we look forward into the rest of the finals? The gap's opened up a little bit, not quite a full race yet, but very, very close. You could even potentially lock this thing up with 1 to go if you keep doing what you're doing.
Yeah, I mean, maybe that would be something. I doubt that'll happen, but that would certainly be something. Yeah, just keep doing what I've been doing, or try to at least. This was one of the kind of the bullets that I was worried about in terms of tracks in the finals. Is kind of a weird sort of hodgepodge, I feel like, of tracks for these last 4 races, but this was definitely one that I was like, I don't know how this is going to go. So at least this one's over and it went well. So yeah, again, just try to keep doing what I've been doing, and hopefully it pans out.
How much pucker factor Zulu was there over the last couple of laps there, with all of those lap cars kind of piled up in front of you? I mean, not wrecked, but it looking like they were doing everything in their power to wad them up.
You're telling me. Yeah, that was, I was just thinking, I'm like, I could get involved in this, but I really don't want to, because I had some room to kind of play with, and I was like, just get to the white, and then as soon as I got to the white, I'm like, and hands up, done with this. Not taking part in the shenanigans anymore. I'm over it. So, and I just let them sort it out. But yeah, there was certainly a lot going on there. It was a little more than I was hoping for. I was just like 20 to go, 30 to go. I'm like, let's just stay green, let everything be all hunky dory. Nothing needs to happen. And then like 10 to go or whatever, 5 to go, I look up and I see that. And I'm like, huh, great, here we go. This will be good. But well, yeah, fortunately that didn't start anything, so that's always good.
I'll tell you what, man, it was once again an impressive drive all around. Absolutely perfect execution on and off of pit lane. Congratulations on a big win and what is now a commanding lead in the Fuel Final standings. Before we let you go, make sure you get all those sponsor plugs and thank yous in.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Again, just shout out to the JT Motorsports guys and the TDR guys as well. Had a pretty decent night overall tonight, which is obviously a good thing. Just shout out to the admins, of course, for doing what they do. All the league sponsors, you guys for putting the broadcasts on, and everybody that tuned in. Hopefully, you enjoyed the show.
All right, bud. Well, thank you much. We appreciate you checking in with us here, and let's bring in, we'll say, best in class tonight, Mr. Mike Stroll. And man, I'll tell you what, bud, the car looked really good out there. The paint job, by the way, is absolutely fantastic. And all in all, not a bad night. Great way to kick off the Fuel Finals, coming home second.
Yeah, it looked way better on Friday night in the 600. I wish I could have repeated that. But, solid start to the finals. Nothing else doing. I felt like after 30 laps, I was a little bit better than Thomas. I was running him down a little bit off of 2 there. But I was racing a little too hard with Munsell and Morton there. Munsell caught the wall off of 2 and crickled my right front a little bit, and it wasn't the same after that. It wore out the right front a little bit too much, and Thomas got away. I tried the undercut a little bit to gain some time back, but it just didn't work. So, I'll come home P2 again for like the 5th time in this series. So build on that. We got three more good tracks to go, and see if I can get at least a win before this is over.
Yeah, what are your thoughts here as we head to Auto Club Speedway next week? The Task Force Viper 200, presented by Redacted Milsim. That one is completely different from what we saw here at Rockingham, but a lot of the same concepts. Tire management, not overdriving the race car, and not trying to get too much out of it.
I mean, that's the norm for this B car, and like I said, when the schedule came out, I saw the finals. I said all 4 of those tracks I could win at or run good at. So I expect nothing less than the top 5 the next 3 weeks. Hopefully, I can get a win, maybe 2. See what happens. I don't think there's no stopping Thomas Vesey this season. He's just on another level. He's driving pissed off, and it's working out for him, and he's just kicking everyone's teeth in. So see if we can steal one.
All right, bud. Well, congratulations on the runner-up finish here tonight. And before we let you go, make sure you get all those sponsor plugs and thank yous in.
Yeah. Thanks to my new sponsor, AC Delco, Bojangles. I can't wait. They're actually building one down there in
Oh,
Quakertown.
I'm so excited.
Yes.
It opens up August 1st, so I'm going to be right there. Hopefully, it's as good as the South, but I don't know. The South does everything different, but I'll try it out.
I'll be right behind you in line there.
That's right. I can't go wrong with some Bojangles. It's bow time, baby. Let's go.
All right, bud. Well, congratulations once again. We appreciate you checking in with us here. And let's bring in our third place finisher tonight now, Mr. Justin Morton. And man, I'll tell you what, Justin, the car looked really good in the early parts of the race. Don't see any major damage or anything on it. Was it just set up kind of going away on you late in the run, or what was it? Because the car was pretty quick all night.
Yeah, I felt actually the opposite of normal. My short run was actually better than my long run pace there. Just killed that right front way more than everybody around me. It kind of was unfortunate, but it's kind of just part of this place and something I need to fix to be better here.
What are your thoughts now as we look ahead a little bit to the point standings? Thomas got about as much as he could get out of this one. Are you now, does your mindset shift a little bit that you want second, or do you go and try to rattle off 3 wins and steal a championship out from under him?
Well, I'd love to try to steal a championship out from under him, but I'm feeling pretty content with second place for the second year in a row here. But of course, I would want to get the championship.
All right, bud. Well, congratulations here on a nice third place run. And before we let you go, make sure you get all those sponsor plugs and thank yous in.
Yeah, I like to thank our team, Total Downforce Racing. Riley and Hayden had a great run tonight. JT Motorsports for working with us and just hanging out with us during the race. It's always a pleasure to be with them. Pixel Dust for the awesome paint. Black Box for sponsoring us, and thank you guys for doing the broadcasting. You guys do a great job.
Well, thank you, sir. We appreciate those kind words. And man, I'll tell you what here, Patrick. We saw kind of a classic Rockingham race here tonight. One guy was going to absolutely nail it, and kind of no real surprise here. That was Thomas Bressy.
Yeah, he's kept up on his game, did his homework during the off week, and starting out this Fuel Finals really, really strong. If he can keep up with this run, this championship's his.
Yeah, I don't see any way that somebody is going to catch him short of doing, like we mentioned to Justin, of sneaking back-to-back-to-back wins in or something. And you even still have to hope that Thomas Bressy has an issue at some point. But next week we head off to Auto Club Speedway in Southern California, place that we were broadcasting from in the real world this past weekend. We're going to head back there virtually next Monday night. How different is that place from Rockingham, or is it sort of like I mentioned to Justin that you sort of have to just drive it the same way and just be smooth and consistent?
Smooth and consistent for sure, but the only difference is here you're doing 140, 150 miles an hour. At Auto Club, you're getting pretty close to 200, and especially with the Xfinity cars, part of it's like, it's almost, the best way I can compare it to is driving Daytona or Talladega in the 1986 NASCARs.
You know what? That's a great way to say it. The car just wants to be a little bit tail happy on entry. And with this being a fixed setup series, maybe they dial a little bit of that out. But then it becomes even more about managing the car, because then it's going to want to push late in the run. It's a lot for these drivers to take in and kind of put the big thought process into.
It's definitely going to be an interesting track, that's for sure.
All right, bud. Well, thank you very much for hanging out with us here in the booth tonight. As always, that was Mr. Patrick Byrne. And, well, for everybody here at the National Racing Network, my name is Chris Graham. Thank you so much for hanging out with us tonight. We will talk to you all soon. Have a great night, everybody.